Tonight, Victoria's shock border change. Sydney-siders free to enter without quarantine. Melburnians still under 15-kilometre travel limits. The state racing to vaccination targets and the easing of restrictions as early as next Thursday. Bulldog star Bailey Smith under police investigation over a night out on the Gold Coast. Victoria hit by a hail bomb. More wet weather on the way. Jane Bunn has the latest. And the little would-be astronaut, inspiring people across the world from Sandringham.
Live from Melbourne, 7 News with Peter Mitchell starts now.
Good evening. Victoria is racing towards vaccination targets and an early easing of restrictions, possibly as soon as next Thursday. The good news comes with sweeping changes to COVID travel rules. The Andrews government throwing open the state to Sydney-siders, even though Melburnians are still under strict travel limits.
A significant border announcement as we recorded more than 2,000 cases for the second day in a row and 6 deaths.
Fully vaccinated people in New South Wales red zones will be able to enter Victoria without facing the 14-day quarantine arrangements, including people who are not Victorian residents.
While Melbourne remains under 15-kilometre limits, from Wednesday, tourists from New South Wales can come to Victoria and stay anywhere in the state.
The ridiculous situation will occur, in fact quite cruel, that many Melburnians can't go and visit their family, their friends outside of 15 kilometres, but you can have people in from Sydney.
They'll have to present a negative test before they travel, then test again when they arrive and isolate till negative. Travellers will also have to stay within 15 kilometres of their accommodation. The New South Wales Premier had his own shock travel announcement.
Hotel quarantine will be a thing of the past.
From November 1, flight caps and quarantine will be scrapped for fully vaccinated Australians returning to Sydney. Unvaccinated travellers will still have to quarantine. Qantas quick to confirm international flights will commence on that date.
This is about Australian residents and citizens first.
The Prime Minister wants the 40,000 stranded Australians home first. Damon Klotz has been stuck in Mexico for 2 years. His ticket is ready to go. He just hopes this time it's not cancelled.
I just want to go back and see my family, and I told them I was going to see them in July. I felt confident, and now I'm telling them Christmas, and I really hope that that's true.
The end of hotel quarantine in Sydney caught our health minister off guard.
Everyone just needs to take a chill pill.
We don't need a chill pill. We need a proper plan.
As work on the purpose-built quarantine facility in Micklem forges ahead, there's no confirmation as to when we will scrap the hotel quarantine program and allow Victorians to fly directly home.
It seems hard to believe that New South Wales will welcome international travellers that can be free to go into the community and connect domestically to Victoria, but yet we can't have international arrivals into Victoria. So it's critical that we match today's announcement.
And Chanel Vella joins us now. Chanel, these border changes are good news for the Australian Open.
They certainly are. It means the Australian Open can go ahead on time in January because most of the players will be coming off a major lead-up event in New South Wales. And in some added good news, there are high hopes that the Australian Open can go ahead in front of full crowds. Mitch.
Chanel Vella, thank you. At the rate we're going, Victoria is on target to hit 80% double dose well ahead of schedule. Blake Johnson has the latest, and Blake, we are days ahead.
Pete, we should hit 70% next Thursday, 80% by October 31. That's according to the data analysts at COVID Live tracking the pandemic. If that's the case, this time next week, places like Hardware Lane could be bustling with outdoor diners. Can't do much about the weather, unfortunately. Other venues, though, are choosing to stay shut until that second vaccine goal. Lucy Lou's lights are on, preparing for a November 5 indoor dining relaunch. That's based on the original 80% double dose vaccine goal, which will likely arrive early. If that's the case, they're ready.
Let us open. Yeah, we would really love to open early if we can.
Victoria should hit the 70% goal next Thursday, October 21. 80% about 10 days later, Sunday, October 31. Both are 5 days ahead of the roadmap schedule. But the plateau in case numbers this week was wiped out by another day of more than 2,000 cases.
So clearly we're not dealing with a one-off high number from yesterday's numbers. We're clearly seeing another step up in the number of cases we're dealing with here in Victoria.
The number of COVID patients in hospital has fallen by 11, but more are in intensive care.
67% of yesterday's total case numbers were unvaccinated.
New South Wales leads the vaccine race. More than 78% of adults fully vaccinated. The ACT is second, Tasmania and Victoria in the 60s. WA's rollout is the slowest. 54.6% of adults there are fully vaccinated. The national average, 66.3. Hair salons can have 5 customers at 70% fully vaccinated. Retail is outdoor only. The same for restaurants.
Our online system we had to shut off because everyone was trying to book before we're actually allowed to have people.
Melburnians are bursting to get back to life.
Just give us a chance to get open. I mean, we've been through a lot.
Blake Johnson, 7 News.
The vaccine mandate has kicked in for more than 1 million authorised workers, no longer allowed on site if they haven't had a jab. The deadline has forced some small businesses to close their doors, just as Victoria prepares to open up.
There'll be no Friday night fish and chips from Blue Seafood in Coburg North. Staff telling 7 News the vaccine deadline for authorised workers is causing them stress and they need more time. Around the corner, customers at O'Hay's Bakery and Deli were also met with a sign on the door. The local institution shut after 65 years, also struggling with the rules.
There's a real impact on the small businesses. They're actually distressed, some of them, because they don't want to lose these people.
To be allowed on site today, authorised workers must have had 1 dose or a booking to get the jab by October 22, or proof of a medical exemption. The deadline to be fully vaccinated is 6 weeks away. If an employer allows an unvaccinated staff member on site, they can be fined more than $21,000 and the business will be hit with almost a $110,000 fine. Workers who falsely claim they've had the jab will wear a $10,000 fine. Healthcare workers, firefighters and police were also subject to today's so-called V-Day. One veteran nurse took to social media to announce she's out of a job. Victoria Police wouldn't confirm how many unvaccinated members have been stood down, but say ongoing non-compliance will result in referral for disciplinary action. Rather than immediately sacking employees who aren't vaccinated, some businesses are allowing staff time off to reconsider.
They've let some take holiday pay, they've let others look at long service leave.
For those authorised workers refusing to get the jab and taking leave with the plan to wait it out until after Victoria reaches the 80% double dose target, the Health Minister says they're wasting their time. These public health orders mandating the vaccine will be extended.
You are taking a huge and foolish risk if you think that the expiration of these current orders will see that obligation mysteriously vanish. It will be in place for a substantial period of time, well into 2022.
Jade Vincent, 7 News.
Hobart has become the latest city to go into lockdown. The news sparked panic buying, with southern Tasmania entering a 3-day lockdown just minutes ago. A man who travelled from Melbourne and tested positive to COVID-19 escaped hotel quarantine. He spent around 18 hours in the community, including visiting a major supermarket. The state of play in Victoria is developing by the hour. Our daily case number is down slightly to 2,179 and our vaccination rates are surging. 87.6% of Victorians aged over 16 have now had at least 1 dose. 63.8% are now fully vaccinated. That means our target dates have jumped forward again. We're on track to hit 70% double dosed on October the 21st. That's Thursday next week. And 80% fully vaccinated on Sunday, October the 31st. Western Bulldogs star Bailey Smith is at the centre of a Queensland police investigation this evening. Crime reporter Tegan Doling has the details. And Tegan, it's over an alleged altercation outside a popular Gold Coast night spot.
Mitch, it occurred in the early hours of Monday, October 4, after the rugby grand final in Queensland. It's understood Bailey was out with friends at a bar called Burleigh Pavilion when an altercation broke out just after midnight. Now, 7 News has been told Smith allegedly pushed a 22-year-old man to the ground. This victim has hit his head on a garden bed, cutting it open, and was taken to hospital requiring stitches. This afternoon, the Bulldogs confirmed they are aware of the incident and have conducted their own investigation, finding that no action is required. Queensland police are also investigating the alleged assault, but are not believed to have yet spoken to the 21-year-old star. Mitch.
Tegan Doling, thank you. Residents in Melbourne's west were given a wintry surprise last night when a blanket of hail covered their neighbourhood. The weather event only lasted 10 minutes but quickly swamped streets across Melton and Fraser Rise.
Spring looked like winter in Melbourne's west last night.
It's snowing, come on! Merry Christmas, mate!
Just after 9 p.m, a hailstorm quickly blanketed several streets.
And my dad walked outside and he was like, my car is covered in snow. I was like, what do you mean? So I walked outside and the whole street is just completely white.
That is hail. It looks like it's snow.
Oh my goodness!
We're going to be fine. We're safe in the house.
One resident particularly prepared.
It goes pretty far.
Only 6 millimetres of rain was recorded, but the hail came down hard.
It was like damaging. Like you walked outside and it would hurt.
It literally hurt my neck to the point where it was like literally pounding on my skin and I had to run through it.
But not even the lightning and thunder could drown the delight of the rare show.
It's definitely a surreal experience.
Oh my gosh.
We really loved it. It was the first experience for us. We have never seen that before.
It was just bucketing down. It's like Mother Nature just opened its gates and said we're just going to dump it all on Fraser Rise.
A treat for Joe Galone, even still this morning, able to show his grandson Christian snow for the first time.
It was spectacular. It was, I've never seen so much hail fall at the same time. It was just great to see. Why would you want to go to Force Creek or Buller?
Sam and Lucy Scordo were still wiping ice from their cars more than 12 hours later.
Within about 10 minutes or so, we looked out the backyard and we couldn't see any green grass, nothing. It was just all white, just a sleet of white.
It was literally like picking up snow and the kids were loving that experience.
And Georgia Comensoli joins us now from South Melbourne. Georgia, this rain is with us for a little while yet.
Mitch, while we won't get any hail tonight, parts of Melbourne's east will get plenty of rain right into tomorrow morning. Some suburbs may even see some flash flooding. Jane Bunn will have more on what to expect soon.
Georgia Comensoli, thank you. One of Australia's biggest money laundering operations has been smashed by Victoria Police. The crime syndicate is accused of buying bank accounts from hundreds of foreign university students to hide $62 million worth of dirty money.
It was a sophisticated money laundering operation police have never seen before. The crime syndicate was using ATMs around Melbourne to hide their dirty money. They deposited $62 million into 250 bank accounts of foreign university students who had moved back home. They would also place money, often tens of thousands of dollars, into cryptocurrency accounts before withdrawing it again. Yesterday, police carried out 9 warrants in homes and businesses across Burwood, Box Hill, Blackburn, Caulfield North, Oakley and Endeavour Hills, arresting 4 men and a woman, all in their 30s. Detectives seized 4 luxury vehicles, including a BMW X5, a Toyota Land Cruiser, a Mercedes and a Porsche. They also found a huge loot, including several $1 million in cash, boxes of illegal tobacco, a cash counter, jewellery, high-end clothing and sporting memorabilia.
Police first became aware of these suspicious deposits 15 months ago as money started to consistently grow in the bank accounts. It's understood the syndicate bought the uni students' bank details and then accessed them on the dark web.
3 men remain in custody and are facing life in prison. Tegan Dolling, 7 News.
A special task force has been set up to investigate crimes at recent protests. Police have released photos of people they want to speak to, including these 5 men over the assault of officers and their vehicles. They're also hunting this man after a member of the public was spat on when protesters stormed the Westgate Bridge. Scott Morrison will attend the Glasgow Climate Summit at the end of this month. Now hotel quarantine has been scrapped in New South Wales. The decision comes as Australia's lack of action was mocked in the middle of New York.
Wrapping around New York's Marriott Marquis Hotel, shame on a giant scale. For 10 minutes, messages mocking the government's lack of action on climate change lit up the biggest billboard in Times Square.
That's pretty funny.
James Hillier is the man behind some of the artwork.
It's just so egregiously appalling. It's disgraceful, the absolute inaction, this government.
Paid for by crowdfunding, the group is planning to roll out similar billboards in Glasgow, where the Prime Minister may see them in person. Now he's confirmed he'll be at the UN Climate Summit,
which I'm looking forward to attending. It's an important event.
Pressure for him to be there was coming from all sides. The Queen, less than impressed with those who've failed to commit. Quiet frustrations caught on camera. Scott Morrison is hopeful he can take a new Australian commitment to get to net zero by 2050 with him to the summit. But he wants to get the Nationals on board before he leaves.
It's not just about hitting net zero. What's important is Australia's economy goes from strength to strength.
And he's confident he has a plan that'll do that, while also protecting jobs in the regions. A plan that will be presented to all Liberal MPs on Monday. Crossing his fingers, it'll be enough to win over the Nationals at a joint party room meeting on Tuesday. Rob Scott, 7 News.
Drivers could pay more for on-street city parking during peak hours when the lockdown ends. Work is underway to improve traffic flow to encourage workers back to the CBD. Council ordered an independent review with one recommendation to encourage flexible work hours. There'll also be more parking spaces for click and collect shopping. Sydney's border bombshell could be a blessing for England's Ashes chances. Tim Watson, the old enemy's prayers have been answered.
Mitch, it could open the door for their biggest star to make a shock return. We'll explain more shortly in Sport. Plus, a shattered Tim Payne gives an update on Will Pucovski and reveals he's smoky for a test debut this summer. Also, the umpiring call being described as one of the most controversial decisions in decades, amidst the Saints have made a brutal call too on the future of one of their small forwards. I'll see you again shortly.
OK, thanks very much, Tim. Melbourne's house prices are rising by the day. Next property going through the roof. A new lockdown-defying record. Also, why armed police swooped on a house in Melbourne's north. New South Wales cops are battering, hit by storms, hail and a tornado. And later, the world-first microchip that alerts owners when their pets are sick. And the story behind Melbourne's special little astronaut girl. Police swooped on a house in Preston today to arrest a man over violent crimes in Melbourne's north. He was wanted over 2 attempted carjackings at Craigieburn when he threatened his victims with a handgun. Melbourne house prices have surged to a record high over the past 3 months. Regional Victoria is on the rise too. Geelong's median price is beyond $1 million for the first time.
Nujan Kaya is selling her 4-bedroom home to take advantage of a COVID real estate boom in Melbourne's hottest suburb.
Wow, Tesla.
It's Keysborough, the median house price up 22% to $1.1 million.
Because of that, I thought I'll downsize.
It's fantastic. I've been selling Keysborough for 11 years. This is the first time I'm seeing as the median price is over $1 million.
It's a very family-orientated area. It's not too far from the city, not too far from the beaches, and we're also surrounded by great schools.
Melbourne's median house price is now more than $1,070,000, a jump of 13.8% on a year ago and 6% on the previous quarter. Other big risers, Beaumaris, Frankston South and Ferntree Gully.
There's still a huge, strong demand for properties,
But obviously with lockdown, there's very little supply.
Regional Victoria is booming. Its annual growth rate 22.8% for houses, 18.8% for units, the highest jump for more than 10 years. Big growth areas in regional Victoria: Wangaratta, Lucas near Ballarat and Point Lonsdale.
People have realised that they don't need to go into the city constantly for work. They can work from outlying areas.
With so much pent-up demand, easing restrictions is likely to bring a flood of homes onto the market, and buyers too, which is tipped to slow growth.
I think those huge $200,000, $300,000 over reserve are going to become a little bit more rare, and I think we'll probably just flatten a little bit.
Paul Dowsley, 7 News.
The future of Crown Casino will be clearer in the next fortnight. The Victorian government's been handed the Royal Commission report into whether Crown is fit to hold its gaming licence. It's now up to the Andrews government to make the findings public and announce its verdict by the end of the month. A tornado has ripped through a town in northern New South Wales, destroying homes. The wild weather also brought damaging monster storms to Western Sydney.
A path of destruction from a ferocious tornado.
A tornado! Did you see that?
It blasted through Armidale in New South Wales North for 34 kilometres. Illuminated by lightning, tearing roofs off homes, flipping cars and ripping up trees.
It was scary, wasn't it? We stood in the middle of the house, we could hear it peeling off, the roof peeling off.
Yep.
Oh.
Judith Munsey awoke to howling winds, looking out her window to see tin flying.
I was very scared. I was actually screaming. I don't think I've ever been so scared. I got to the back gate this morning and just cried. Sorry.
There were 500 calls for assistance to the SES as wild weather lashed the state. Sydney's western suburbs could be confused for snowfields. Chaos at Mount Druitt Westfield. Roofs collapsed while shoppers were inside. Roads were underwater with 25 millimetres in as many minutes. A train station waterfall at Walleye Creek. A light show at Homebush. And hailstones 5 centimetres wide.
John, look at the hail, John! Oh my God!
Wild winds continue in New South Wales into the weekend, but the worst of the storms has passed.
And Jane joins us now. Jane, the rain has definitely set in here. Will it get any heavier soon?
Well, Mitch, Melbourne's eastern suburbs, especially the outer east, are set to see the heaviest of the rain. It is impressive on the radar. A big line marching up towards Melbourne and sweeping through. This is rain. It is steady and persistent, affecting the whole area. By dawn, we're looking at 10 millimetres over in the west, 20 to 30 through the middle and up to 50 in the outer east. I'll have more after sport, Mitch.
The big wet. Thank you, Jane. Victoria could be heading for thunderstorm asthma trouble too. Next, why experts are worried and what they're doing about it. Also, a thief in a bizarre attempt to outrun police. And the Melbourne cheerleaders who came out on top of the world from their Northcote gym. Health authorities have issued a warning about a dangerous drug that could lead to death. Some ecstasy pills are being distributed in Melbourne and they've been found to contain PMMA, known as Dr. Death. It looks like yellow crystal and takes longer than MDMA to have an effect, which leads to users taking more and overdosing. Doctors are warning the hospital system won't cope if there's a serious thunderstorm asthma event. Victorians are being warned to prepare now for what could be dangerous conditions for asthmatics.
5 years ago, thunderstorm asthma killed 10 Victorians. Now, experts warn we're on track for another potentially deadly season.
If you were to create the perfect model system for thunderstorm asthma, you have Melbourne.
Wild weather and a high pollen count are the perfect storm for asthma.
Those individuals who are allergic to grass pollen, and they also cough and wheeze during the pollen season, grass pollen season, they are at highest risk.
Unprepared and unable to breathe, thousands of Victorians rushed to hospital in 2016, the most calls to 000 in our history.
Health officials say a similar response now would be catastrophic.
They may actually look like they've got some of the symptoms of COVID-19, and so it's very hard for us to tell the difference, but also we may be a bit busier at this time because of the COVID-19 pandemic.
While our emergency departments are under increasing strain, so too are the state's paramedics. Ambulance wait times have blown out as our health system struggles under pressure caused by COVID-19.
It's more important than ever for these potential sufferers to arm themselves with an insurance of having their asthma action plan, having their preventers and relievers, just in case the help is taking a little bit more time to come.
All things a GP can provide. Jodie Lee, 7 News.
A thief has gone to extreme lengths to rob a motorbike store in Brisbane. The man used a stolen front-end loader to ram raid the shop. He then tried to get away from police, driving through several streets, damaging fences and property along the way. At times, he was even driving on train tracks before he was arrested after being caught hiding in a creek. A day of mourning has begun across Lebanon after 6 people were killed in fierce gun battles on the streets of Beirut. The fighting was sparked by a protest about last year's devastating port blast.
A battlefield in downtown Beirut. Guns and rocket-propelled grenades taking a city back in time. This was a front line during the country's 15-year civil war. Today, for 5 hours, heavy gunfire rang out again. It started as a protest against the lead judge currently investigating last year's deadly port blast, which killed 219 people and devastated large parts of the capital. Victims' families support the judge, but members of Hezbollah and its allies accuse him of political bias. They were leading the demonstration when snipers on rooftops opened fire. Children hid in school shelters, civilians fled their homes, while Lebanese soldiers appeared powerless, stuck in the middle of the sectarian violence. Another layer of trauma for a country already suffering through a total economic collapse. Sarah Greenolge, 7 News.
A deadly bow and arrow attack in Norway is now considered an act of terrorism. A 37-year-old man left vague warnings on social media and said he'd converted to Islam.
Hello, I am a messenger. I come with a warning.
Local police admit he had been on their radar before he took aim at innocent shoppers, killing 5. And former US President Bill Clinton is in hospital for a urinary tract infection that spread to his bloodstream. Doctors confirm Mr. Clinton was admitted to an intensive care unit in California, but mostly for privacy and safety. Staff say he is in good spirits. A group of Melbourne cheerleaders have managed an incredible feat, taking out not 1 but 2 world championships. The teams spent much of the year practising alone at home, but their determination helped them come out on top.
It's a long way from Disney World, Florida. But this is where history was made. 5, 7, 8. Southern Cross cheerleading taking out 2 world championships from inside this Northcote gym.
The Cheerleading Worlds is like our Olympics. It's the most prestigious event in our sport. There's thousands of athletes all over the world who participate.
Due to COVID, the teams streamed their routines online after training for months alone at home. For stuntman Joel Gaisley, that meant getting creative.
A lot of finding anything heavy at your house, a sack of potatoes, using cans, a lot of push-ups, a lot of cardio.
The popularity of the sport has boomed in recent years and was even the subject of a Netflix docuseries.
If you want to be one of the top teams at the competition, you have to step it up.
These Melbourne athletes happy to see their passion take centre stage.
It's becoming more accepted. More people know what it is.
Cheerleading took a big leap forward in July when the International Olympic Committee recognised it as an official sport. That gave the teams here the exemption to finally train together again.
It's really hard to practice alone. That's why we were so grateful that we could get permits to train as professional athletes.
The challenges along the way making victory even more sweet.
To actually make it all the way through is just a dream come true.
Estelle Greeping, 7 News.
Congratulations to all. A thief has been caught out in a low act stealing from a frontline health worker who was on duty. Details are next. Also, the critical communication backup system to keep us connected when disaster strikes. How a world-first microchip warns owners when their pets are sick. And the little Melbourne astronaut bringing joy to lockdown suburbs. National Broadband Network has a backup plan to ensure Victorians stay connected through the most terrifying of times. As wild weather lashes our state and bushfire season looms, it's a plan designed to save lives.
Fires, floods, unpredictable weather. Australia no stranger to natural disasters.
What's the fire?
Past emergencies, cutting phone and internet access. This year, we're better prepared. NBN bringing new temporary infrastructure on board.
We've got 58 new bits of gear at a cost of about $6 million.
The backup communications use satellite technology and can be switched on during an emergency. During bushfires, mobile towers have been knocked out with power outages widespread.
We've absolutely learned a lot of lessons from the 2020 bushfires.
This is called a Sky Muster van. In case of a disaster, it can be driven into an affected community to provide internet, allowing residents and emergency services to make vital calls.
There's been times where a muster vehicle's been the only communications.
NBN also launching a campaign with a few simple tips to help Aussies during an emergency. Stay mobile by keeping a charged mobile phone and portable battery. Stay updated through local radio and other news outlets. Create a digital backup of essential documents like insurance policies. And consider investing in an alternative power source. Georgia Holland, 7 News.
A thief has committed a low act, stealing a hospital employee's car while they were at work. The man entered a Parkville office and grabbed car keys from a woman's handbag before driving off in her 2020 Mercedes. But a quick-thinking security guard confronted the thief, who ran away. A world-first app is allowing Australians to track their pets like never before. While your dog or cat can't tell you how they're feeling, this technology could be the next best thing.
Monitoring your pet's health from a smartphone. Previously impossible.
Nobody in the world has done anything like this before.
Until now.
It's the only device that can measure things like heart rate, respiratory rate and tissue oxygenation. So the app's very simple. It's a simple registration screen for the owner and then they just add in their animal details and register the chip.
Australian technology, the brainchild of this vet.
I thought to myself as I was taking the vital signs of some animals, there must be a better way to do this.
Think of it as an update to the standard identity microchip.
It's got some really tiny biosensors on it that measure the vital signs that we're interested in. And then it uses a very small battery and some connectivity to send that information to a person's smartphone.
Implanted under the skin, a simple procedure that takes less than a minute for animals big and small. If something's wrong, you will get an alert and your vet will be able to see it too.
It's also a game changer for lost pets. If a chip dog wanders up to a stranger, they can just hold their phone near the animal and a web page opens. That gives you the opportunity to notify the dog's owner of its whereabouts.
The dream is to go national, but that's still a little way off, with clinical trials the next step. Jordan Katz, 7 News.
A little Sandringham girl with a passion for space has forged a new frontier in lockdown. Would-be astronaut Mia Rovenko goes walking every day in a homemade spacesuit, inspiring people all over the world.
There's no locking down the dreams of this 4-year-old aspiring astronaut.
I want to fly in space on a satellite.
3, 2, 1,
blast!
Mia's daily walks now a space odyssey. The Sandringham foreshore becomes the lunar surface.
This rock is a moon rock.
All you need is just a little bit of imagination, and that's what kids teach us every day.
Because of Mia's planetary passion, Mum Maria made the spacesuit and paper mache helmet.
1, 2, 3.
Dad Andy took photos. There's an intergalactic eeriness.
They really looked like they did come from a bit of a different place. Beautiful.
Originally just to beat Mia's lockdown blues, now Rocket Girl Chronicles are an Instagram hit, sending spirits worldwide sky high.
She brings her own dreams into every picture.
Because it's very funny to have fun.
Nick McCallum, 7 News.
That's exactly right, Mia. Sport is next with Tim Watson. And Tim, the trade period may be over, but the Cats still want a big name.
They do, Mitch. They think he's out of this world. Chris Scott has made a bold bid to lure a former AFL coach. More on that next. Plus, how Sydney's border bombshell could give England the upper hand this summer. A last-minute curveball ahead of a fascinating Caulfield Cup, and why this umpire call will go down in history for all the wrong reasons. Welcome back. Sydney's decision to end hotel quarantine for international arrivals could open the door for England star Ben Stokes to make a late dash down under for the Ashes, while an unknown opener has been thrown up as a potential test smoky for Australia this summer.
A frustrated Will Pucovski hasn't given up on his Ashes dream despite his latest injury setback. The 23-year-old was struck on the head at training last week. His 10th concussion has caused plenty of concern.
Yeah, shattering when I found out. I've spoken to him a bit the last few days. He is improving slowly. I don't think it's as bad as some of the others he's had before. I was devastated to hear that it's happened to him again, but he's still hoping to be ready at some stage during this summer.
Payne has picked Pucovski's Victorian teammate Marcus Harris as the most likely replacement. Other options include Usman Khawaja and Matt Renshaw, while Queensland's Bryce Street could be a smoky to walk out alongside David Warner. Payne himself is fighting for fitness as he recovers from a neck injury.
I hit about 20 balls yesterday, albeit underarm. At the moment, probably the only issue is the strength in my left arm and a bit of nerve stuff, which I'm hoping will be gone very soon, and I can sort of go from 0 to 100 really quickly.
And could England's Ben Stokes be in line for a shock return for the Ashes? The star all-rounder is back in the nets, ramping up his recovery from a finger injury. Sydney's open border policy could be a green light for a late call-up. At less than 24 hours old, the WBBL season has been thrown into chaos. Matches in Hobart in limbo due to a 3-day COVID lockdown. Nat 5 was an interested onlooker last night as the Melbourne Stars stumbled against the Sixers.
Oh, chance.
Oh, welcome to the WBBL.
Alyssa Healy leading Sydney to a 6-wicket win. Chris Stubbs, 7 News.
Geelong has reportedly approached Ross Lyon to join Chris Scott's coaching ranks in a part-time role next year. Meantime, St Kilda small forward Jack Loney has been delisted. Loney kicked 73 goals in 87 games across 7 seasons at the Saints. One of racing's most coveted prizes is up for grabs at Caulfield tomorrow, and that's where we find Jackie Felgate with the countdown onto the Caulfield Cup. And Jack, all eyes are going to be on the radar for the next 24 hours.
Oh, that's exactly right, Tim. The rain is certainly coming down and we're expecting more significant rain overnight. So that's going to make things on track very interesting indeed. And one of the more fascinating stories tomorrow will be Peter Moody and his horse Incentivise. Of course, the man who trained Black Caviar is yet to win either a Melbourne Cup or a Caulfield Cup, and he is one of the shortest price favourites in Caulfield Cup history tomorrow, $2.60. But the main danger is in Delphi, ridden by Damien Oliver. Now, he's looking to equal a record 5 Caulfield Cup wins. And another man hoping to get his second Caulfield Cup is Kieran Maher. He's got 2 horses in the race, Persan and Explosive Jack. And Kieran Maher says, well, bring on this rain.
More the merrier for my 2. It'll bring some of the quicker ones back to him. Explosive Jacks are, real genuine stayer, and I suppose Per Sam wouldn't want it too wet. The rain it won't really matter their chances too much.
The other big race tomorrow is the Everest up in Sydney. $15 million on offer there. It is Australia's richest race, and the favourite is the superstar sprinter Nature Strip. So, Tim, the rain coming down here in bucket loads already. We're not going to have any crowds on track, so it will be the perfect day to stay at home and watch the races, and we'll have them all here throughout the day on 7.
Indeed. Thanks, Jackie. Aussie Cameron Smith is off to a hot start in Las Vegas. Smith fired a 6-under opening round at the CJ Cup to be in a tie for 7th. Jordan Spieth is also at 6-under thanks to his incredible short game.
No chance.
No chance.
Unless you're Jordan Spieth trying to make me look ridiculous.
Justin Thomas was made to look ridiculous with a triple bogey on the par 4, 9th, but he recovered to finish 3-under. And it's going to be a long off season for the San Francisco Giants after a brutal finish to their Major League playoff run.
Did he go? He did! And the game ends! A swinging strike 3, and the Los Angeles Dodgers are headed to the National League Championship Series.
Strike 3 was called by the first base umpire, and it wasn't just the San Francisco locals who were unhappy.
Oh man,
boy, that's bad.
I don't think he went.
That's bad.
Still, the umpire's call stands, and the Dodgers will take on Atlanta for a spot in the World Series. They're not happy in San Fran, Mitch.
No, they're not
tonight.
Not at all.
Back the Mud Runners tomorrow too.
Yes, in the Caulfield Cup on such a wet evening. Thank you very much, Tim. Jane is next with the forecast. And Jane, how does the weekend look?
Well, Mitch, it certainly starts off wet, but it slowly gets better as it goes along. Then I hope you like warmth and sunshine. Those details are next.
Melissa Caddick was my wife. I can't keep silent any longer.
She defrauded millions and millions, then vanished.
It's time for the truth to come out.
What Australia has heard so far is just the tip of the iceberg.
I know why she died.
Go inside the mansion.
Doesn't get much better than this. No.
Inside the money trail.
How much money did you give? $2 million. Who is Melissa to you? My sister. But who would want to murder Melissa?
Someone got greedy and wanted her dead.
The discovery right here on this beach should have answered a lot of questions.
The most extraordinary mystery of our time.
All this coastline, for it to be found by anyone, is quite extraordinary.
It's beyond me.
Did you murder your wife?
7 News Spotlight investigates Melissa Caddick, The Vanishing. Sunday at 7 on 7.
Hello again. Rain set in this afternoon. It will continue through the night. Melbourne's outer eastern suburbs are set for the heaviest falls. At first it was fairly quiet in Victoria after the excitement of yesterday's storms. But part 3 of this big weather system is a large area of steady rain, sweeping up from the southwest, persistent over central parts. When that began in the city, it went from a top of 17 to now just 11. And the sky was certainly threatening just before it hit. It spread through early afternoon and it is not going anywhere. It'll keep going right on through the evening. Already 14 millimetres in Frankston, and as the intensity increases this evening, more of this yellow and red. The outer east could see close to 50 millimetres by morning, Caulfield 20 to 30. This began life as moist air off the Queensland coast pushed down and around this low that is near Tasmania, and so that spot pushes the heaviest rain directly into Melbourne, Western Gippsland and the Ranges. The low is closest to us tonight, so the wind picks up, with these alpine and coastal regions at risk of damaging gusts. This does include the eastern suburbs of Melbourne. The complex weather system finally moves away from Australia tomorrow, so the rain continues in these areas overnight, then it gradually breaks to widespread showers, easing later in the day tomorrow, and then it is all over once all of that clears. But by then, eastern Melbourne, Western Gippsland and the Ranges will have seen 50 to even 100 millimetres of rain, so all these catchments are on flood watch. These rivers are heading into flooding. The Yarra goes into moderate. That's in Healesville on Saturday, Coldstream and Yarra Glen on Sunday. Around the nation tomorrow, as the low moves away, windy in Sydney but dry and turning sunny. Canberra and Hobart, showery easing late afternoon. Adelaide cloudy but mostly dry, and there's sunshine for Brisbane and Perth. To Victoria, rain breaks to widespread showers during the morning. That's across the south and up into the northeast. Dry for the rest of the north, but mostly cloudy. Winds are breezy to strong southwesterly before both the wind and the showers ease back later. Closer in, persistent rain at first. It breaks to gusty showers during the morning. They are widespread through all these eastern suburbs, but not as much in the west. Then both the wind and showers will dissipate late afternoon for a mostly dry evening. The city has lots of showers passing through with gusty winds, and it's just 16. Then all of that will be easing back late in the afternoon. To the 8-day outlook, and now we enter a mostly dry pattern, and there's even some warm sunshine in sight. But on Sunday and Monday, there is a cold front clipping us. We've got high pressure coming in, but a little effect from that cold front. So 18 and 19, there's a slight chance of showers as we go Monday into Tuesday, but then sunshine does return. On Wednesday, that's our sunny top of 25. It'll be absolutely lovely. 24 on Thursday, there's only the slight chance of a shower now. They are more likely as we go into later on Friday. And that cools us down again with a little bit of wet weather as we come out of lockdown. So the rain breaks to lots of gusty showers for tomorrow. They'll finally ease back later, but it is just 16 and certainly soggy underfoot after all that rain overnight, Mitch.
We haven't had a wet Friday night like this for quite a while, have we?
No, we'd love you to sit there and just watch it coming down outside.
Yeah, Tim's enjoying it already. Thank you very much, Jane. And that's the way it is this Friday, the 15th of October. Thanks for your company. For now, from the 7 News team, good night.